It's time for the KQEG-TV High School Game of the Week. Tonight, the Onalaska Luther Knights take on the Aquinas Blue Golds. The KQEG-TV High School Game of the Week is made possible by our sponsors, like Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is their business. Southwest 2nd Avenue in Onalaska. Schumacher Kish, Funeral and Cremation Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. Battery Mart, with batteries for your car, boat, snowmobile, lawnmower, even your snowblower. Battery Mart, in the Industrial Park below Gunderson. Lewiston Monument in Lewiston, Minnesota. Boyer's Furniture, quality furniture at affordable prices on South Avenue, La Crosse. Blaschke Schneider Funeral Homes, serving the Cooley region for over 90 years. Fiesta Mexicana on La Crosse's south side. For great Mexican food made fresh daily, make it Fiesta Mexicana. Citizen State Bank, a banking experience like no other, with locations in La Crosse and Onalaska. The University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW La Crosse. Kirshner Custom Builders. For residential and commercial building, call Kirshner Custom Builders. And Bacalar Sausage, making quality sausage products since 1935. Now let's go down to the field and the KQEG-TV broadcast team, Carl Greenfield and Nick Ragnar. It's time.
And welcome to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Those of you joining us on our live stream here on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Nick Ragnar, Carl Greenfield up at UW La Crosse, bringing you some great Friday night football action. Carl, I'm feeling great, man. I just took a nap. I'm feeling good. I feel fresh.
I feel
relaxed.
like I might need to take a nap. I'm fighting a cold here, so.
I think we both are. We're
yeah,
both a little under the weather.
I'll probably just go straight to bed right as soon as I get home tonight.
You think so?
I think this game will energize us both.
Wake you up a little bit. I mean,
absolutely.
we got some good action. Really, great. Two local teams here that are freshly part of that SWAL conference this year that are meeting each other here in the season finale. But you look at a team like Aquinas, I think that's one of the biggest stories of the game. I mean, they haven't finished at 500 or better since 2012. Last time they were in the playoffs was then, but the last time they had a record over 500 was 2008.
Yep, absolutely. The Blue Golds come in 5-3. They're coming off of a couple of tough losses. Mineral Point and Lancaster, probably the two best teams in the SWAL.
Right.
And 2 straight games on the road. It is a challenge. Nick, you and I were there for their win against Darlington. I think that was a statement game. Darlington's a good football team, and they were able to shut down that offense. It was pretty impressive. Now, the Luther Knights coming in, they've struggled this season. And they've got the one win earlier this year against Cashion. They're winless in the conference. This game means, nothing as far as playoffs for the Luther Knights, but it means a lot for pride. And, it's going to be the same thing for the West Salem Panthers, our other game tonight,
right,
playing against Central. West Salem comes in winless. They want to get that W.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the same thing for the Luther Knights. They're going to want to come in the home finale for the Aquinas Blue Golds and, spoil the end of the regular season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Luther has been just right by the finish line but couldn't cross it. Past 3 games, losing by just 2 touchdowns or less, so really trying to come out tonight and get that final win of the season. But Aquinas, again, we just talked about them too, will be in the playoffs action for the WIA starting here. I believe is that next week.
It'll be next week Friday.
Friday.
The seeding meetings will occur over the weekend, and we should find out by Monday where everybody's going to be playing. The Aquinas Blue Golds, they're going to be in the postseason, and that's a big deal for them that they haven't sniffed that in quite a few years. None of these players have been a part of a playoff game, so
right.
that's a very special moment for this program. Now we turn our attention to maybe some of the individuals that we may be seeing tonight.
Absolutely.
Gavin Wetzel, very talented
Yes.
quarterback. He's been efficient. He's been taking good care of the ball. 9 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, averaging a little over 12 yards per attempt, but a 60% completion percentage is very, very good for a high school quarterback. You look at guys like Will Cambio, Aiden Lee. It's a very balanced running attack. They're gonna spread the ball around, but look for the big playability. Will Cambio over 300 receiving yards on the year, 3 touchdowns. 24 yards per catch.
That's crazy stat.
So the Blue Golds are going to try and wear you down, and then they pop that big play. It's kind of like the Holman Vikings in that they're able to catch you by surprise. It's a little less of a surprise with the Blue Golds than it is with Holman, but it's not part of their primary identity. But I think, Nick, you and I would agree that the biggest thing that we were impressed with of the Blue Golds was their defensive intensity.
Oh, yeah.
3 weeks ago against Darlington.
Absolutely. Forcing turnovers left and right. I mean, that's kind of a way that they really were able to solidify themselves in that 14-0 victory, but making the plays when they needed to happen. I think we talked about this multiple times after that game had finished, but one of the most exciting and entertaining 14-0 games that we had ever seen before. And I think when you look at Aquinas' offense, too, what we talked about, and you kind of shared some of the statistics, what you'll see a lot of jet sweeps and a lot of pre-snap motion. Misdirection, but they aren't afraid to really unload it, and that's where Wetzel kind of comes into play. I mean, that they don't throw it a lot, but that kid has a cannon for an arm.
Yes, he does.
So be sure to keep your eye on that and those play actions.
They sure missed him last year when he was injured. Now, for the Luther Knights, they're gonna rely on Eric Rogers. 127 carries, 519 yards, 2 TDs on the year.
It's a lot of work.
65 yards per game. Another couple of contributors. We talk about Christian Willem, the quarterback. He's struggled through the air this year, 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions, but he's been effective running the football as well. 226 yards on the year, a couple of touchdowns. Brandon Statler, 4 TDs on the year. He's also one of their leading receivers, along with Joey McNamara. So the Luther Knights are going to lean on those guys on the offensive side of the ball. And on defense, they're really going to have to stay in their lanes with all the misdirection and the motion that the Aquinas offense brings to them. They're going to have to make sure that they keep disciplined and they don't overextend themselves.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really exciting game. And you always like that the final game of the season, these kids, regardless of their standing in the conference, if they have games next week for the playoffs, they're going to come out and be ready to play a lot of the names that you had just mentioned, seniors for these Onalaska Luther Knights. Going to be coming out with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy, looking to spoil the season finale here at UW La Crosse for the Aquinas Blue Golds. Real quick, who do you like as far as right off the bat? I mean, what do you think Luther really needs to do to try to play spoiler tonight?
I think it's going to be a case of controlling the clock, keeping time of possession in their favor. Obviously, the turnover bug, that's going to be a big thing.
Absolutely.
And keeping the big plays from happening. That's what the Blue Golds can do. The big play is one of those things that the Knights are going to have to stop.
So we'll be on the lookout for that again. Aquinas Blue Golds head coach Tom Lee going up against the Luther Knights head coach Matt Schiebel here tonight in the season finale at UW La Crosse. We are going to take a quick break. We got the national anthem coming up in just a moment. We'll be back with kickoff after this. It's the Onalaska Luther Knights visiting the Aquinas Blue Golds here at UW La Crosse for the KQEG TV Game of the Week.
No matter where you are, it's easy to find Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating, La Crosse.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Here you are.
Right now, get over $1,700 in rebates and utility credits with your new Carrier Infinity Heating and Cooling System.
Call or visit us online to ask more about our Gold Star maintenance program.
Schneider Heating, West Salem.
Schneider Heating around West Salem. Here you go.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
From the bluffs to the river, surround yourself with
knowledge,
competition, the arts,
friendships.
Surround yourself with distinction.
Surround yourself with UW La Crosse.
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week, and we're here bringing you the kickoff. Luther electing to receive, and now on the return. That's
makes a couple of men miss.
Now, unfortunately, we are pretty up high. This is a very, very nice setup we have here at UW La Crosse, but our good friend Terry Erickson isn't here with his binoculars tonight. So
that was Brandon Statler with the return.
There we go. And we'll see what this Luther Knights offense has to bring to the table here.
Quarterback Christian Willem.
Coming out now under center with a kind of that wing-back formation, a fullback right behind him there. And in motion, they're going to go a nice little option there. That's a good option there. Number 3 on the carry. That's Connor Peterson. A couple of yards there, and a nice little play there for Luther to kick things off.
Yeah, they stayed true to their lanes. The Aquinas Blue Gold's able to stick with them as well. You know, we talk about this beautiful facility that we've got here, and I kept talking to people. I was like, well, I'm gonna get the nice indoor press box this week. It's like 70 degrees today.
In motion there. Oh, there's a little bit of a little trickery, but he's got a lot of room ahead of him now. Breaking off to the left, there is Statler, and he gets a first down for the Luther Knights. Great first possession thus far here for Luther.
And a good job to sell the fake. They faked the reverse. So 12-yard gain on that one. Blue Golds in a 3-4 front.
Again, this is the type of formation you see a lot in this league thus far, especially what we saw a couple of weeks ago. And here's another option play now, as getting close to another first down there is Willem.
Nice job by Willem to elude a couple of tacklers. He had plenty of room to run. He was taken down by Ethan Roop, number 23.
I think this is something that you really need to do if you're Luther, right? You got to come out here with some energy and try to make something happen on that first drive.
With a statement drive to start the game. You know, the Knights have had a tough season, so a longtime rival, you know, back to the WISA days. These two teams played each other.
Just a single receiver set there and going right up the middle trying to get the first down. As
he's going to get enough.
Much as they can. 27, Eric Rogers, again, as we had mentioned in our pre-broadcast, Carl talked about how he'll get a lot of work tonight, and he got just enough there to give the Luther Knights another first down.
He's kind of the Luther Knights version of Brett Holden. He's the fullback in that wing formation offense. Big kid, 5'11", 190 pounds. He's a tough load to bring down.
Charlie Langenberg on the tackle there for the Aquinas Blue Golds, and fresh set of downs. Here come the Luther Knights. Let's see what they've got. It looks like they're going to go with another option there, and again, getting the yards they need. That's another great get there on a first down by quarterback Willem for the Luther Knights.
Credit the receivers there, Brandon Stadler and Dylan Yang, out on the edge, making the blocks, giving that outside room to run.
And the Luther Knights are really moving the ball here now in Aquinas territory as they set up with the 2-receiver set. We got 9 minutes and 20 seconds to go here in your first quarter of action. If you're just joining us, we appreciate it on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We're bringing you playoff action here over the next couple of weeks as the Knights try to go up the middle to get a few yards there, but are unable to get the first down.
Getting up from the bottom of that pile, Noah DeGroot in amongst a handful of Blue Golds, stopping Eric Rogers. Maybe a gain of a yard there.
What you're noticing from this Luther Knight offense, they're doing a lot of subs on those wing backs there, those kind of tight ends that go in motion misdirection prior to the play. I think that's how
you stay fresh.
Stay fresh and keep running your plays without tuckering out your quarterback, who's running a lot of options here thus far. And kind of just a QB keeper going straight onto the right side there.
It was a bit of almost a draw run.
Yeah.
Off to the right side, but a good run there by Willem, the senior quarterback. Talk about good size, 6'2", 185.
Got a lot of great blockers ahead of him to get the yards necessary for that first down, and the Luther Knights are continuing to knock on Aquinas' door. Let's see what they got here. A 3-receiver set now. Rogers in the backfield with Willem under center. And it's going to be another keeper option there. Oh, somewhat of a seemingly kind of almost a low toss there, close to a fumble, but.
And that's Will Cambio blowing that one up.
Great tackle there by Cambio. We saw a lot of that from Cambio a couple of weeks ago against Darlington. You know, Cambio packs quite a bit of punch into that 5'8" frame that he's got. He also is very dynamic on the offensive side of the ball as a primary ball carrier for this Aquinas Blue Golds team, but does make a lot of big impact plays there on defense. He's kind of all over the field. Look at where he started. I mean, he's on the left side of the field. Was able to come over and make a tackle on that last play. Here we go with another 3-receiver set for the Luther Knights, and they're going to go straight up the middle. Nice bounce to the outside there by Rogers, and able to power through and get whatever yards he can against that Blue Golds defense.
That's exactly what I was going to say. The power in those legs to be able to keep the legs moving is one of the things that a lot of young players need to learn, and Eric Rogers has already learned that himself, the senior running back.
Yeah, he did a really good job there. I mean, if you watched it on our broadcast here, you could see that there was no lane for him to run through at the beginning at the line of scrimmage there, and he bounced to the outside. Very good ball carrier vision there by Rogers as we set up with a 3rd down and 5 here, and they're going to do there's a fumble in the backfield, but able to pick it up are the Luther Knights, and unable to get anywhere. That great Aquinas defense, Connor Peterson getting bottled up there at the line of scrimmage.
He's basically going to lose all 5 yards that Eric Rogers just got, but fortunate to retain the football after the lost handle on the reverse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and we'll see what the Knights are going to do here. I'd assume they'd bring out the punting team.
It's what it looks like. There's some substitutions, and they are going to bring out the punting unit.
Aquinas, though, still kind of
They're keeping their defense out there. I think they're just going to let it go deep, hope it goes into the end zone, get a touchback, and guard against the fake. Low line drive kick.
They're going to let it run a little bit there.
It almost looked like it was going to hit a blue goal,
yeah.
But excellent decision to punt that one and play the field position game on that one.
Yeah, good punt there by the Knights. A very good first drive, taking some time off the clock. We only got 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter, and with that, I think, we should take a break maybe? What do you think? Maybe not?
I think we'll keep going.
I think we'll keep going.
Yeah.
All right. We got our stream master over here that's calling the shots. 6 minutes to go here in the first quarter for the Blue Golds offense, and let's see what they've got drawn up now. Wetzel now in the under center for the Blue Golds. Cambio at the bottom of your screen there in motion, and he's going to get the first carry of the game.
Oh, that's Aiden Lee.
Oh, that's Aiden Lee breaking a tackle. Breaking a couple of tackles there is Aiden Lee, number 1 for the Blue Golds.
What looked like it was going to be a loss in the backfield suddenly turned into a big gain and gives them a 2nd and 1. Excellent work by Lee. That 5'11" frame, 160 pounds, he was able to power through some tacklers, which you don't see a lot out of a 160-pound running back.
I feel like we saw that quite a bit when they were up against Darlington. It's like they have just this handful of running backs that know how to get extra yards and how to break tackles, and that's what you like to see. Cambio in motion there, but they're going to go straight up the middle with the power run there.
That's Reutemann with the carry, Matthew Reutemann.
Saw Reutemann come alive against Darlington a couple of weeks ago, breaking off some big plays.
Yes, he did. A couple of those inside handoffs, they key in so much to the motion men and going around the outside, and then you can run that little trap, and Reutemann can break it off. He's got good open field speed as well.
Wetzel now. We've got Lee, Cambio, and Reutemann in the backfield, and Lee on the motion, and he's got daylight in front of him. He might be gone here.
One man to beat.
One man to beat, and a great tackle though by number 11 for Luther.
Nehemiah Pamperin
there on the tackle, stopping the touchdown for the Blue Golds. But again, Lee, there's a lot of open space there.
A lot of greenery in front of him, and if you're Aiden Lee, you're just saying, please let me get past this guy. I want to get in for 6, but still, good run there.
Pamper doing a good job to chase Lee down there, and hopefully this defense can step up. Here in motion now is Cambio. They're going to go right up the middle to Reuterman, and tackled there. Hit before the line of scrimmage. Great job there by the front defensive tackles there for Luther.
See Ethan Deem coming in from his linebacker position in on that play.
Isaiah
Brandon
Larish.
Statler also.
Yep. Also on that play. So that's what you need when you're after giving up that big play there. 2nd 11, 4 minutes to go here for this Aquinas Blue Golds offense, trying to strike here in the first quarter. Their final game of the regular season. In motion now, I believe that's Cambio. Nice cuts there, breaking to the inside, touchdown! It's going to be for Aquinas there, the first 6 points on the board, and again, so dynamic, shifty, elusive is Will Cambio.
Will Cambio, very patient in his running too. You know, a lot of guys try and bust through that hole. He waited for the hole to develop, let his blockers do the work, and a very mature run there by Will Cambio.
Will Cambio staying out on the field, trying to give his Blue Golds an extra point here on the kick. And looked like that was tipped at the line of scrimmage there.
I think it was.
And with that, the Blue Golds put up 6. 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter. We'll take our first break of the game. You're watching the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Aquinas putting 6 on the board to Luther's nothing here in the first quarter. Great runs there by Aiden Lee, Will Cambio, Matthew Reuteman really coming out on that first drive. And with that, during the kickoff, let's take a moment to thank one of our awesome sponsors making tonight happen. Schumacher Kish Funeral and Cremation Services has been serving the La Crosse area for over 50 years. Traditional services or prearranged funeral plans, it's comforting to know they'll be there when you need them. Schumacher Kish in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. You got that one just down.
I've got that one memorized. That's
the copy since the 1990s, right?
Yeah, that's that one in the Boyer's Budget Furniture read. I think I could do in my sleep.
Here's the kickoff here by Cambio. The Knights looking to respond there, and got a lot of awesome sponsors that make things like this happen. Look at this return here. Oh,
Brandon
my goodness.
Statler.
Oh, wow. Stadler, just a phenomenal return. Had a couple of big plays on that first drive for the Knights, and he sets them up in great field position here for their second drive of the game.
You know, you talk about that first drive. They looked like they were stringing things together, got several first downs. Then they wound up having to punt. You got to give the Aquinas Blue Golds credit, 93 yards on that drive. They started on their own 7 after that wonderful punt.
The Knights coming out now just at the 49-yard line here on that great return there by Statler.
We'll see if this springboards them into a big drive here.
They proved on that first drive they can move on this Blue Golds defense. Let's see what they've got drawn up here. Going straight up the middle. Nope, there's a little bit of an option.
Oh,
kind of
boy.
a little bit of confusion there. Stadler ends up with the ball there, and I think Willem was felt maybe a little cornered there by that Blue Golds defense getting in on the action.
The key to the option run is angles, and Willem lost all of his angles. He got himself his shoulders were no longer square to the line of scrimmage. Turned 90 degrees. He's pitching straight back. That's just a recipe for disaster. Fortunate there wasn't a fumble on that one.
Evan Kuyak and Michael Liam on the tackle for that, blowing up that play, sending the Knights back just a little bit. Again, there's a little bit of an option, and there's a big tackle there by the Blue Golds. I think that might have been Connor Peterson on that carry. If my eyes, nope, that was number 9. That is Dylan Yang for the Luther Knights.
Taylor Service in on that tackle.
Big tackle there by the Blue Golds, now setting up for a 3rd and 11. And again, these types of situations, you kind of wonder what the team's going to – I mean, both teams kind of really geared towards the run, but at this point you kind of have to take the cap off a little bit, right?
You know, this might be a case of pull something from page 2 or 3 of the playbook.
Well, what is this now? They got a little bit of a tight formation here.
Don't be surprised to see him throw out of this formation.
And they are going to do that, dropping back to pass, going deep and unable to connect with his man, Willem, looking for number 19 there, Cole Bryant. Freshman Cole Bryant getting some action there. And now
that might have been 15.
Was that 15? Bias.
That'd be Lyndon Bias.
I even checked our replay and I couldn't make out the lettering, the numbering, I guess.
You know, I'm always one to complain about fonts, and this is not this is not my favorite font I've seen.
That punt rolling a little bit there. I mean, still setting up the Blue Golds there, about the 26-yard line. And 2 minutes to go here with that. We will take another moment to thank one of our awesome sponsors for making tonight possible. Blaschke and Schneider Funeral Home, providing thoughtful services for over 80 years. Now with 2 locations, Carl, Caledonia Street and West Ave. Before the game ends tonight, we will choose a Blaschke Funeral Home player of the game for both Aquinas and Holman. That's not the team that's playing. Just Ron Burgundy. Stay tuned,
Rick.
Coming up for the fourth quarter tonight.
Rick, we got to give you a hard time. You got to update the copy, otherwise Nick's just going to read anything.
I'm just going to read anything. Here's the run here. I believe that was Aiden Lee on that one, getting a couple yards. Following his blocker there was
that
Lee.
was Aiden Lee. You're right. At least you can get that right.
I got that part right.
Did you just say Ron Burgundy?
I did.
Okay.
I dropped Ron Burgundy on our broadcast tonight. Yeah.
You know, got to keep it light.
1:30 to go here in the first quarter at Veterans Memorial Field at UW La Crosse.
Roger Herring Stadium, legendary head coach of the Eagles.
Right. Lee in motion once again. A little bit of trickery there. Lee handing the ball off and getting some yards there are the Blue Golds. Quinn Miskowski getting his first carry of the game, the sophomore. 1:16 to go now in the first quarter as the Blue Golds continuing to move down the field. Their offense has looked spectacular thus far here tonight. Again, showcasing that they have a number of backs that can really break one for a big one.
4 different guys have carried the ball already for the Blue Golds. Aiden Lee being the leader of those.
And they're going to go straight up the middle to Reutemann with that hard nose, feet to the ground, body low to the ground running style that he has.
And, you know, Reutemann is not your prototypical fullback. He plays the fullback position in this offense, but 5'10", 173 pounds, not the biggest of all the kids, but he's able to run with a low pad level, and that's a very big thing for a young running back to learn, is to run with your pad level low and beat the guy to the spot.
Absolutely. In motion now is Lee, faking the sweep. Now looking to go deep. He's got a man and just overthrows number 7, I believe
that's
that
Ryan
is.
Schwartz.
Ryan
the
Schwartz.
Senior.
He did have Cambio wide open down the right side of the field, but I think he was just outside of his vision. Maybe it wasn't his first read there, so he went to Schwartz on that pass play.
Yeah, Schwartz was definitely the first read there. And a lot of young quarterbacks, it is tough to get to your second and third reads in a progression. A lot of times reads are predetermined. So give Wetzel credit. That was a good throw, just a little bit too much air under it. It is a little windy down there tonight too. So
Cambio in the motion and gets the ball there. Great stop by the Luther defense on third down. And we're going to wind down this first quarter with a Blue Golds fourth down. We'll find out what they do at the start of the second quarter. Aquinas Blue Golds 6, Luther Knights nothing. This has been the KQEG TV Game of the Week. We'll be right back with the second quarter.
No matter where you are, it's easy to find Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating, La Crosse.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Here you are.
Right now, get over $1,700 in rebates and utility credits with your new Carrier Infinity heating and cooling system.
Call or visit us online to ask more about our Gold Star maintenance program.
Schneider Heating, West Salem.
Schneider Heating around West Salem. Here you go.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Are you thinking of building your dream home or remodeling your current commercial space? Kirshner Custom Builders can help you make your dream become a reality. They build beautiful, dramatic, creative, functional, and efficient buildings, whether it's your dream home or commercial building. Kirshner Custom Builders will coordinate every step of the process, from land purchasing to final landscaping. Visit their website at KirshnerCustomBuilders.com and get a free guide on things you must know when planning to build a custom home or renovate a commercial space. Kirshner Custom Builders, your satisfaction is their guarantee.
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. You know what? While we're waiting for the offense to get on the field, let's take another moment to thank another great sponsor making tonight happen. What do you say, Carl?
I'm in.
How about Battery Mart? Not just for car batteries. Battery Mart, you'll find batteries for your boat, your ATV, your motorcycle, lawn tractor, even your snowblower batteries.
Let's not talk snowblowers.
All your warm and cold weather equipment. Battery Mart in the industrial park below Gunderson Lutheran, or look in the yellow pages. I just did it again. It's Gunderson Health System. Darn it. These reads just get me.
That one has not been updated in quite some time. Fake punt. Gavin Wetzel.
I think he's got a first there.
He's got it. Absolutely.
Gavin Wetzel putting on the wheels there and gets the first down. That's something we talked about when they played Darlington. I mean, it's something you have to be aware of, the quarterback playing the punter position. You never know.
He can throw, he can run. Gavin Wetzel's a very good athlete, and he can beat you in multiple ways. And he showed it right there.
It's something we didn't really talk too much about, but you saw it a couple of plays ago. I mean, Gavin really does. I mean, does he not? He has an arm. Like, he has.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there's a reason he's playing quarterback for this team, even though they are a run first. And here comes, again, the patience and just finding the open lanes is Cambio. A great run. And we got a flag here.
We got a late flag flying in. See what they're going to call. It was a 20-yard run for Will Cambio. See what.
I'm not sure what that. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on the Luther Knights there. I'm not really sure what.
The wind picking up a little bit, swirling around. It's blowing from our right to left, but
looked like a personal foul against Luther.
And no indication as to what it was. I don't know if it was like a late hit or what it was, but either way, red zone opportunity for the Blue Golds, now half the distance to the goal to the 10-yard line. So that play amounts to 30 yards. It only counts as 20 on the stat sheet, but
big run there for Cambio, and now in motion is Miskowski, and he is going to bounce out to the left. Great tackle, though, there. Ankle tackle there by
Lyndon Bias.
Lyndon Bias, another great. We've called his name a couple of times this far on the broadcast on the defensive side of the ball for Luther. 10 minutes.
No gain on that one.
10:50 to go here in the second quarter now, as Aquinas in the red zone now for the second time tonight, looking to make it 2 for 2 and put 6 more up on the board.
Yeah, up 6-0. They had their PAT blocked, so that could come into play later in the game.
Really could.
You never know.
Reutemann now behind Wetzel, and a little bit of, again, misdirection as Lee goes up the middle trying to power his way into the end zone.
He's just about a half-yard short of the goal line there.
A little bit of a, I believe that was a reverse there.
Gain of 9.5.
And
they're going to hustle up to the line.
To the line, and let's see what they got going here. I think they're going to go with Reutemann up the middle, and he's in. Touchdown, Blue Golds. It's very savvy and smart offense right there to get right up to the line. Don't let the defense set up, and then just give it to your big ball carrier, Reutemann, straight up the middle. I mean, that's this Aquinas team's looking very seasoned thus far. I mean,
yes, they are.
Watching them, you'd think they've been winning for years. You'd have a bunch of kids that have been just kind of really making it happen. But, I mean, they're looking pretty good thus far.
The kick was long enough from Will Cambio, but it was wide left, so another missed extra point
And with that, we will take another break here. Aquinas up 12 to Luther's nothing. You're watching the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Don't go anywhere.
You know Boyer's Furniture. We've been in business over 100 years selling quality furniture at budget prices. But who's choosing the furniture we're selling?
We picked out sofas. Sofas. And more sofas. We picked out love seats. And more love seats.
We picked out recliners.
Recliners. And more recliners. Dining room furniture.
Bedroom furniture.
With buyers like these and USA brands like Ashley, Marshfield, and Best, you can't do better than Boyer Furniture.
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Aquinas just putting another 6 up on the board, up 12 to Luther's nothing, and Luther really needing to respond here hopefully in the second quarter. As we know, Aquinas will get the ball to start the second half. But Aquinas' offense has looked really good thus far.
Really sharp. The only maybe negative is the couple of pass plays have been overthrown. But, man, it's been a well-oiled machine.
Reverse there by Luther. That is number 15. Bias on that one, making a couple of big plays on defense and looking to set up his team here as the Luther Knights come out for their third drive of the game. Again, I feel like all three of the Knights' drives have started with pretty favorable field position.
Especially after that last kickoff return.
Absolutely.
Got them to nearly midfield, and they were driving, and then got kicked back, had a couple of bad pitches, and all of a sudden you're punting away again.
It just kind of seems like that's been the story of the game for Luther thus far. They've had really, honestly, really good play calling and good moments, and then it was just maybe one play that set them back a little bit that they could not recover from. And let's see if they can try to answer back to Aquinas' 12 up on the board here with 10 minutes to go in the first half. Going straight up the middle and runs into a wall. Is their running back.
That was Eric Rogers. Not to be confused with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he is not playing high school football tonight. He is.
I think he's ineligible at this point. Not because of grades, but because he's
a little
like 36 years old.
Yeah, he's aged out of high school football, I think.
Or he's not quite 36. I think he'll be 36 in December.
Packers having a good season, eh?
Yeah. 5-1, taking on Oakland this weekend.
That's right. And here come the Knights, dropping back to pass. Oh, and he's getting chased down now. And almost able to find a man there. Number 9, Dylan Yang.
You got to give Willem credit, though. It looked like it was a sack easily in the backfield, and he was able to use his legs to extend the play, had his man, and it just fell incomplete in and out of his hands.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy to throw, especially when you're running against the grain there.
Heading to your left as a right-handed thrower, you gotta square your shoulders again.
Lenny Boberg was one of the men from Aquinas on the hurry there. Aquinas breaking down and getting into the backfield pretty quick there. 9 minutes to go here in your first half. And the Knights staring at a 3rd and 9 right now. And they're just going to give it to their man, Rogers, straight up the middle. He's trying to make something happen, and he'll get tackled after getting a few yards there and getting kind of close to
did the ball come out at the end there?
Eric Rogers with some really tough yards.
As the PA announcer says, some really tough yards. You got to give him credit for that. It looked like about a 4-yard gain, and suddenly it was 8. And it's a very manageable 4th down. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for it here. It looks like they're going to keep the offense on the field.
Yeah, no substitutions are made, and Luther, again, kind of looking at this last game of the season. Let's make something happen. Let's make some magic
Pull out
happen.
all the stops.
Pull out all the stops. Let's see what they've got drawn up in their playbook for a 4th and 2 here. Just behind midfield, Willem now setting up with Rogers in the backfield. 2 wing-back set, and he's going to do a QB keeper, and I think he's got the first down there. Going off the left guard.
That was the old-fashioned Bush push. If you remember Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart against Notre Dame about 15 years ago. Matt Leinart on the quarterback keeper,
and
then Reggie Bush came up behind him and pushed him. They tried to call him they wanted to call him for illegal use of the hands for pushing, but you're never going to get that called.
Mitchell Bass was the guard that was Willem followed there to get that first down for the Luther Knights. And, there's a pitch there now. Wow, what a kind of a high pitch there. Number 9, Dylan Yang on the carry there, the sophomore.
Willem pitched that as he was about 6 inches off the ground and threw it straight up into the arms of Dylan Yang. Whatever works for you, I guess. Amazingly, that amounted to a gain.
2nd and 8 now. 7:30 to go in the first half. Again, you can see the score on your screen. Aquinas up 12. Luther nothing. Has had some good drives thus far here tonight. Just hasn't been able to get it in the end zone or get any points thus far.
But if you are watching on our playback, it may not be visible on the screen, so we do want to remind you of the score.
Saw that in an email today. Going deep now, and almost
50,
able
50
to
ball.
Come up with that one. Yeah, it looked like it was played well there. I'm going to have to check our broadcast to see who was on the defense for that. Number 19 for the Blue Golds.
That's Joseph Savidelli. Those of you who have followed the Blue Golds over the years, that name has been prominent. Jacob Savidelli, Joseph. I'm missing one, and I'm gonna remember it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
It's gonna just
it's gonna haunt me.
It's gonna haunt you.
But the Savidelli name has produced a lot of good athletes, especially basketball and baseball players.
Oh yeah, of course. And here come the Knights now. Again, a little bit of an option keeper there. As wow, what a big hit! And now he's gonna get.
They're gonna get a helmet-to-helmet hit here.
Yep.
And good to see Stadler get up.
It was number 2 for the Blue Golds on the hit there, Mason Viner. Again, kind of just lowering the shoulder a little bit, probably connecting with the helmet to helmet, and that's in this day and age, that's what's going to get called.
Yes, it is. You know, when you and I were kids, that was just a play that you saw all the time, and that was just a hard tackle.
Yep.
But you know, you got to be conscious of the potential for head injuries and head and neck trauma that unfortunately plagues football.
Yep.
It's one of the things that you see a lot of parents maybe leery about.
Right.
Is my son going to want to play football? Do I want him to play?
Exactly.
You know, I've got a 6-month-old son, and, you know,
it's a little iffy.
It's in the back of my head. I mean, if he wants to play football, I don't see a reason to stop him, but it certainly does cross your mind.
Absolutely. Willem there on the QB keeper, getting a couple of yards there, but nothing more as we line up now for what's going to be a 2nd and about 8 here for the Luther Knights after that penalty yardage was added at the end of the last play. And again, they're getting close here. They're looking to put up some points here with 6 minutes to go. Try to put something on the board here before we head into the half.
You know, I got to be honest, Nick. I think that is the first time I've seen targeting called at the high school level.
Yeah, really. Coming back now and to Eric Rogers, has nowhere to go. God, lots of blue jerseys back there in the backfield.
A swarm of navy blue led by Lenny Boberg and Taylor Service.
Again, we talked about this a little bit in the pregame, but this Blue Gold's defense always committing to their lanes and just, they've given up some yards here tonight. That's kind of what they did against Darlington, too. And they gave
bend,
up
don't
some of those
break.
but they bend and they don't break.
They forced some turnovers in the red zone,
exactly.
And that was the key to the shutout a few weeks back.
Got a 3rd down now and 11 after pushing the Knights back, and now we've got a little bit of a
pistol formation
now with 3 receivers. Doesn't have anybody that he likes open, does Willem, and there's the sack for the Blue Golds. Great play there. That number 50.
We've called his name a few
55?
times. It's Taylor Service. Loss of 8 on the play.
I don't think they've made substitutions. I don't know if they might be throwing the ball here maybe. We got just under 5 minutes to go here in the...
This is decision time for the Luther Knights.
Aquinas has looked really good thus far. They've been hard to stop. They're getting the ball at the half. Kind of feel like you got to do something.
Got to
right?
try and get something on the board before halftime, but the clock is ticking down. I think they may actually elect to take the delay of game. I know a timeout here.
So they'll talk about it and they'll focus on it a little bit more.
It's an interesting decision to call a timeout there, rather than allow the delay of game. If you're going to punt it, give yourself a little bit more breathing room.
Right.
But we'll see what they do coming out of the timeout there.
Before they get out of the timeout, let's take another moment to thank one of our awesome sponsors, Bacalar's Sausage, producing quality, award-winning sausage products since 1935. Hopefully this copy is not from 1935 and I run into something referring to some old president or something. Made with the finest ingredients using recipes handed
President
down through
Roosevelt.
generations. When President Roosevelt visited La Crosse, he had a Bacalar's products are available at your local grocery store. If you're planning a cookout this maybe next summer, maybe if you want to cook out when it's cold out. Remember, a grill is not a grill without Bacalar's sausage on it. Bacalar's locally owned and community involved, a fan favorite since 1935.
I got a story for you. So quite a few years ago, I got a brand new gas grill.
Okay.
And I got it out and got it set on my patio. You know what the first thing I put on that gas grill? Bacalar's hot dogs and brats.
Oof, yep, and that's the best way to go. I'll tell you what, me and my wife, we go to the grocery store. If we're ever picking out hot dogs, brats, meats, we always look to Bacalar's first. They got some great products, and again, that locally owned since 1935. Super cool stuff. 4:30 to go here. They're going to go for it. 4th and a mile. They're going to go deep. He's got a man. Oh! And just unable to come down with it on the fingertips. Brandon Statler. I thought he had it.
Statler is going to be replaying that one in his head. I think maybe he jumped a little bit early. Could have gotten a couple more steps under him and maybe made a diving or lunging play to try and catch that one. Either way, it turns into a turnover on downs. And now, if you're the Aquinas Blue Golds, you have a chance to kind of step on the gas here before halftime, get another score on the board, and then you get the ball back to start the second half. That's a big turnaround.
Knights are going to call another timeout here. Again, we do have our other crew at West Salem for Central at West Salem. A lot of pretty good local games going on today. Some will decide if teams are going to be in the playoffs or not, which start next Friday. So don't forget to check us out on our other YouTube channel. That's KQEG TV Sports.
Yes, and in general, we will try to follow as many teams as we can, but we're going to focus our following on these Aquinas Blue Golds and the Holman Vikings.
Right.
So we'll see what transpires. You know, you're talking about the MVC championship.
Yep.
It could be Onalaska on their own if they win tonight against Holman. But if Holman wins, it's a three-way tie. Onalaska, Holman, and Sparta. The story of the year for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big game they've got going out there right now. And
Terry Erickson and I were at Holman last week for Sparta's upset win. And that was a big statement win in their program history.
Wetzel's going to keep this one, and he's got a lot of room there. Again, the athleticism on display by the quarterback there. Look at that great throw there to the referee. Did you see that? Just the
I missed it. I missed it. I'll be honest, I was watching one of the little kids, ball boys on the sideline just tossing the ball up in the air to himself. He seemed quite entertained.
There's just something about, when we have these high school
just
quarterbacks.
the innocence of not what you were saying.
I'm not talking about ball boys. Wetzel dropping back to pass now, and he's got Cambio. And just overthrows him there. Again, the overthrowing there is Wetzel, maybe a little primed to try to unleash a couple of throws here.
No, I going back to seeing the kids on the sidelines.
Going back to the ball boy. Okay.
I remember being a kid and watching the high school team play and just wanting to be a part of that. And you can probably see these kids thinking someday that's going to be me wearing that uniform, and that's a sense of school pride.
A lot of times it is those kids, right?
Big
that
deal.
End up getting there. Back to now a little bit of that misdirection reverse now. Trying to come up with the number there. Is that number Penchy?
Yeah.
Ball is, let's call it third
That's
and 1 yard with the ball spotted.
That's what the public address announcer was saying. I don't know about that.
Again, you're always a little nervous. Some of those numbers kind of blend into each other a little bit there. Miskowski going on
backwards.
Going backwards there. Great tackle by the Luther Knights, getting in the backfield and making that nice wrap up there. Number 65, that's Mitchell Bass getting into the backfield, making a big play, trying to hold these Aquinas Blue Golds. Fourth and a few here. And we'll see what the Blue Golds have drawn up here. Just under 3 minutes to go now in the first half. Aquinas up 12, Luther nothing. Blue Golds will get the ball back at the beginning of the second half. So
going for it right here.
In motion is Miskowski, and they're going to go straight back to
what
their
a
man.
Bold play call, and that is Joe Penchie making the carry. He had the one earlier. The sophomore getting some action. First we've seen of him.
How many guys have carries thus far for these Blue Golds? Like 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 Blue Golds ball carriers have logged rushing yards thus far here tonight.
A lot of times you talk about quarterbacks spreading the ball around to 8 different receivers. Right. This is 6 different ball carriers. Yeah. You don't see that very often at any level.
That's, again, why this Blue Golds offense has been so dynamic and entertaining to watch. I mean, you never know where they're going to go with the ball. Wetzel now in motion. Once again, they're giving Penchie some work here with the toss play. We got a flag, though, on the play.
That's going to be a holding in the backfield. And you see that's 56. It's Clay Barra holding his hands up saying, "What did I do?" You held him, Clay. I think you held him. And that is indeed the call.
Back will come the Blue Golds. We got 2 minutes to go here. And their running's
12-0.
been dynamic thus far, but at some point, I mean, if you're thinking about the playoffs, I know you always want to stick with what's worked best, but even though it's the last game of the season, do you want to give Wetzel some time to throw the ball and maybe just feel a little bit more comfortable
get some
in the pocket?
Rhythm and get some confidence throws in him? Yes, Wetzel has played well this year throwing the ball, but he has struggled tonight. He's been a little high on most of his throws.
Miskowski.
Miskowski, excuse me.
Miskowski on the carry there, and again, I believe that might have been Bass on the Luther side making the stop. We got 1:30 to go. The clock is still running. No timeouts taken thus far by the Aquinas Blue Golds. And you kind of think entering the playoffs next week, though, if you are the Blue Golds, I mean, there's been teams that just simply run it throughout the playoffs, and they're totally successful. But to have that in your back pocket, maybe throwing the ball a little bit here. I mean, we
talked about the big playability.
And Wetzel's going to keep this one on a designed QB run.
Give him a gain of 4 on that one.
1 minute to go here. And again, still no timeout. This Blue Golds offense kind of going to run the clock down a little bit here as they're staring at a very big 3rd and 19. Might be just running the clock out. I don't know. Maybe take a shot in the end zone once we start coming down
getting close to the zeros. Yeah, no sense of urgency here. This 3rd down and 4th down play will, I think, in their mind, be the last 2 plays of this half.
We've got a 3 receiver set now. You can see Cambio set up as that wing back. Wetzel now.
You can see him watching the back judge now, starting to signal under 5 seconds.
And he's going to drop back to pass. Now he's going to go deep. He has Cambio. Oh, and he makes the connection, but the ball pops out. Defense there by number 11. That's Nehemiah Pamperin again. Played that ball well. It seemed like Cambio had a catch down the sideline there.
And he just got his hands in at the last moment. As a defensive back, you're trained when you see the receiver get his hands prepared for the ball, you stuff your hand in between those 2 hands to break up the pass. Looks like we had a penalty flag, however. A must have been pass interference. I missed it myself. Now, first down.
And now you got 18 seconds to play with, 3 timeouts. Take a couple shots at the end zone, maybe try to get some yardage here.
I wouldn't be surprised with the number of timeouts to see them run it once or twice to try and gain a little extra yardage, make it a little shorter.
Nice little fake there, but unable to make anything of it is Wetzel, and he gets tackled there.
And a very upset Tom Lee calling a timeout there. He clearly did not get what he wanted out of that play. That was a loss of 1.
Be number 68 on the tackle there for the Luther Knights. That's Isaiah Larish. Great job getting into the backfield there as Aquinas takes their timeout with 12 seconds to go here in the first half, up 12-0. This is the KQEG TV game of the week.
Those of you who have followed the Luther Knights over the years, especially their basketball program, you recognize the name Larish. You had Bennett Larish, the 6'11" center,
right.
and then his brother Isaiah, now a junior, 6'7", not quite as tall as his brother, I guess, but still 6'7".
Yeah.
I think when he gets on the basketball floor there, he's listed at 6'8" or 6'9", though. You got to make him look taller in on a basketball roster.
Right.
I'm 6'5". I probably would be listed at 6'7".
You think so?
Yeah.
Back to pass is Wetzel now. A little bit of a screen there to number 20. That's Reutemann, and unable to get anything there. Let's see if Aquinas takes another timeout here. 7 seconds to go.
Believe it or not, Nick, that was the first completed pass of the game by either team.
Wow.
And I got so caught up into that. Who caught that?
That was Reutemann, Matthew Reutemann.
All right, thank you. See, that's why I keep you around.
UW La Crosse taking on River Falls Saturday, October 19th. That's tomorrow, 1 p.m. in River Falls. But don't worry, we're going to be
We
there.
got you covered.
We're going to be streaming that game live, KQEGTV.com, YouTube. Otherwise, we got the playback for you at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. UWL off a big victory after a disappointing loss. So looking to rebound
Took
here.
down UW Stout.
That's right.
This past Saturday in the sleet. It was
that's right. Yeah,
kind of a rough weekend weather-wise last weekend.
And now we have like 70-degree weather. What's going on?
It's spring, I guess. we had very temporary winter, and now we have spring.
It's like this part of living in La Crosse, I guess. I don't know. Here we go.
If you don't like the weather in Wisconsin, wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
Back to passes Wetzel. You have to think he's going to the end zone here, and he does.
Overthrown.
Oh, and it looked like he actually might
have.
He might have had his man there, Mason Viner.
1 second on the clock. He's got one more chance.
1 second left in the first half.
We'll see what they draw up here. I assume it was kind of the same thing. It just seemed like a streaks pattern, almost like a Hail Mary play.
Yeah, just a corner route. Trying to make it so that the sideline is one of the things that prevents the defender from getting the interception.
Luther will take a timeout now, and you have to imagine if you're Luther, you're probably just all standing back at the end zone, right? I mean, you got a couple guys rushing the pass, but outside of that, you're just focusing on batting the ball down.
See,
right?
and there are two schools of thought defensively when it comes to the Hail Mary or the end of half. This is a 22-yard throw. Those longer throws where it's a last-ditch effort. From my point of view, I've always liked sending extra rushers, forcing the quarterback to make a throw, and rather than
giving them all
day long. You see Aaron Rodgers trot around for an hour and then complete a Hail Mary because he has time. If you send rushers against him, he can't get his feet under him. It's not going to get far enough.
Back to passes, Wetzel now, and again looking to the right side of the end zone, and it's intercepted there for Luther. Let's see if they can make something of it. And
wow,
big tackle out of bounds there.
And that was Gavin Wetzel, the quarterback, making the tackle, and that's gonna.
Is there a flag on the play there? And I'm not exactly sure how this would work. Would that give Luther? Oh wait, we got a
hold against the defense of the game. The half cannot end on a defensive penalty. So therefore,
well, it looks like
they're going to get one more down unless Tom Lee's going to decline it. After the change.
Possession, okay.
All right, that makes more sense.
So there you
go. That is the end of the half.
Yeah, that's your half there. Interception there for the Knights, but the Blue Golds will get the ball to start the second half, and we will give you a little bit of a halftime show as well as probably some updates from around the community in case you're watching us and looking for some scores. To go into half on this one, though, we've got Aquinas up 12 to Luther's nothing. You're watching the KQEG TV Game of the Week.
No matter where you are, it's easy to find Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating, Lacrosse.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Here you are.
Right now, get over $1,700 in rebates and utility credits with your new Carrier Infinity heating and cooling system.
Call or visit us online to ask more about our Gold Star maintenance program.
Schneider Heating, West Salem.
Schneider Heating around West Salem. Here you go.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
From the bluffs to the river, surround yourself with
knowledge,
competition, the arts,
Friendships.
surround yourself with distinction.
Surround yourself with UW Lacrosse.
Welcome to the KQEG TV halftime show of the year. Best halftime show you ever catch anywhere in high school sports across the nation. You can see Luther getting ready to go. We got a minute to go here before kickoff and halftime is over and the second half begins. But, Carl, you got some stats for us.
Yeah, for the Luther Knights leading their rushing attack is their quarterback. That is Christian Willem, 22 yards on 6 carries. For the Aquinas Blue Golds, had that big 50-yard run. Aiden Lee has 75 yards on just 4 carries. Touchdowns from Will Cambio and Matthew Reutemann are the reason why it's 12-0. We're going to take a really quick break, and we'll be back with the second half right after this.
It's halftime on the KQEG TV High School Game of the Week. Tonight's game features the Onalaska Luther Knights and the Aquinas Blue Golds. We'll return with the second half of tonight's game after these messages.
I often hear from people that a bank is just a bank. Well, I encourage you to talk to our customers, our employees, or check out our reviews to find out why you can't live without Citizen State Bank. I also encourage you to stop in one of our offices, since the difference will be felt within seconds, and is why we are known to have one of the best cultures in the industry. So what are you waiting for? Why don't you stop in and check out what all the buzz is about? I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
You know Boyer's Furniture. We've been in business over 100 years selling quality furniture at budget prices. But who's choosing the furniture we're selling?
We picked out sofas, and more sofas. We picked out love seats.
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Second half getting underway here. Aquinas up 12 to Luther's nothing. The ball tipping over there. It's a little windy out.
That's the second time the ball's been blown off the tee tonight. It's not a surprise.
It's a windy night here at UW La Crosse. And to give you some score updates from around the area, last checked, Central up 12 over West Salem's at 7. Westby up 21 over Viroqua's nothing. PDC up 35 over Platteville's nothing. Marshfield up 17 over Sparta's 7. That's kind of a
bit of a surprise there.
Logan up 16 to Toma's nothing, and I believe the Aquinas or the Onalaska and Holman game is 3-3, which has some pretty big implications, depending on who wins that one. As we get a little bit of a squib, almost like an onside kick there.
And Luther says that they have it. See what comes out of the bottom of this pile. No, it is Aquinas ball, but my goodness.
Looking at this replay, it did look like Aquinas came up with that one, and that's the way the zebra points. And we'll see what the Blue Golds have. Their offense has looked very good thus far. Their only drive being stalled at the end of the first half, and they were kind of just throwing the ball up to the end zone to see what would stick. Wetzel throwing an interception there to end the first half. Let's see if
GET and Adams Friendship. GET up 60-0.
Wow.
At halftime.
Wow. That's not GET's first time entering that type of. What? How much time is left in that game?
Halftime.
Whoa.
Got a false start.
Have any of our local teams cracked 100?
Not in my experience around here, but I mean, Sparta put up 70 on Black River Falls first week of the season. Usually what ends up happening, you get up that big deficit, and then you put in your JV guys, and usually it's a running clock in the second half, and you're just not able to keep up that pace.
There's a handoff to
Inside
Cambio.
trap.
Yep, he's got a lot of room there, trying to break some tackles and able to spin off again. Cambio just had a lot of room open. Great block there off the get-go, and able to just, again, very, very small running lanes. You'll notice that Cambio has, but he has the agility and the speed to really burst through those as they start closing.
29 yards on that run, and that gets Cambio up to 61 yards on just 3 carries.
Yeah, we've seen Cambio break off a lot of big ones. He's also had some opportunities in the receiving game, hasn't connected with Wetzel thus far. And now he's in motion. They're going to give it to him on back-to-back carries. And again, patient breaking those arm tackles and another first down.
A strong run there. Will Cambio, 18 yards on that one. He's gonna push the 100-yard mark with just a little bit into the third quarter on a few carries.
I'll be honest with you, in all the games that we've called this far this year that I've been a part of, I would say Will Cambio definitely rivals one of the most impressive runners that I've seen thus far this season that I've had the chance to see.
I would agree. He reminds me a lot of Jaden Abraham from the Holman Vikings.
Oh, wow. Lee there able to stay on his feet. A nice little spin move there with the hand planted on the ground, getting some yards. And again,
you mentioned the hand plant on the ground to keep his balance like that and be able to get up and turn that into a big gain.
It's kind of dynamic duo with Lee and Cambio in that backfield, but then you got Reutemann to punch you in the mouth when they want to run straight up the middle.
And don't discredit Wetzel as a runner, too.
Absolutely.
27 yards in the first half for him.
In motion is Lee. They're going to go up the middle now.
Reutemann.
Breaking some tackles, but nowhere to go. That Luther defense was there in the backfield.
Finally stopped by Ethan Deem. Not after a big effort, but going to lose some yards there.
52, Tristan Riley was the first point of contact there that kind of pushed Reutemann back to coming around and ultimately losing a couple yards on that one. We're looking at about 3rd and 6 now for the Blue Golds.
It is 3rd and 6.
Every time they've touched the ball, they've kind of entered that red zone territory. Luther's had troubles keeping them from getting close to the end zone. Let's see what they've got drawn up here on 3rd down. In motion is Lee. They're going to give it to, I believe that's Cambio on the outside, and he busts open for a big touchdown run. Again, Cambio with the impressive patience there. Check it out, busting out to the right, making a couple of guys miss and having nothing but green and maroon in front of him to put another 6 up on the board for the Blue Golds, his 2nd touchdown of the night.
He had a 12-yard touchdown run to open up the scoring.
Looking for his first extra point make of the night.
By my count, he's 2 yards short of 100, 98 yards on just 5 carries. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a good average.
And he makes the extra point there, putting the Blue Golds up 19 to Luther's nothing. They'll come out with their first possession of the second half after we take our next break. Aquinas 18-19, Luther nothing. You're watching the KQEG TV Game of the Week.
There's no place like La Crosse, Wisconsin, with the river and the bluffs.
Academic success, athletic success, all of our programs are doing really well right now.
Coming out here and playing my first conference game, I had a bunch of goosebumps, I had chills, I was excited, I was nervous. I felt every emotion that, you can feel.
College, when you think of what that experience is and the growth as a person and as a student and as an athlete, there's no place like UW-La Crosse.
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Will Cambio really putting a stamp on that last drive for the Aquinas Blue Golds again. Very impressive thus far, running really well. This whole offense is looking really good heading into what will be next week's first playoff matchup.
And we'll see where the Blue Golds will be playing. Likely they'll be on the road, so we'll be following them. Most likely that'll be Rick Wilson heading on the road with them, as it is a little bit easier for him to hit the road than me.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Coming out are the Luther Knights, again looking to do something here with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter. Very fast and efficient Blue Gold drive on that last one. And the Knights thus far only, no points are on the board, but they've had a couple of drives that have looked very promising. I mean, there's even a couple of pass plays where it seemed like they could bust open for a big one. And they'll keep it on the ground to go straight up the middle there. Not sure who that was on the carry. Let's get the number there. It looks like 15.
That's Lyndon Bias.
Lyndon Bias getting a carry in that I formation.
Gained a yard. Got to figure with the way this season has gone for Luther, they're going to try and make sure that their seniors get full participation tonight. Obviously, it's out there for pride, but the senior class, you want to give them an opportunity to showcase their talents one last time on the field.
Nice little pass play there. And I believe that was actually Carter Benrud.
It was Brandon Statler that made the catch.
I think number 5 is in the senior. Benrud is playing quarterback now. Number 5. So maybe switching up the offense a little bit here is Coach Schiebel. Giving some, again, as you had mentioned, some of those seniors maybe some chances to play positions they weren't playing throughout the regular season.
And Benrud has contributed as a passer. He has played in the past, and there is an interception.
An interception there by Mason Viner. Unable to come down with a touchdown to end the first half, but coming up with a big two-handed grab there for the Aquinas Blue Golds, picking off Benrud on his second pass attempt of the half.
And that's the first interception that Carter Benrud has thrown in 25 attempts this season. He has 1 touchdown now with the 1 interception. So he has contributed as a passer, but that's an unfortunate turn of events here after the score by Aquinas. Luther's really just trying to get the ball moving down the field, taking a shot, and turn the ball over.
That's hard to put blame on anybody on that one. I mean, Benrud coming in his first plays in that second half there, and
it was a good play by the defender too, by Viner.
And the Blue Golds now setting up now with 7:46 to go here in the second half as they give it to Cambio, trying to get him over that century mark, and I believe that'll put him over.
He's got it.
Another good run there. Again, just off that sweep there, Cambio has seen nothing but green every time he's gotten the ball. I mean, what are we talking? How many carries? What are we looking at here for Cambio?
6 carries, a little over 100 yards, 104 yards.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good average.
About 20-yard chunks at a time, it seems.
And now in motion again, and they're going to do a reverse now, and Lee again planting that arm in the ground, trying to maybe things like pushing off a little bit, giving himself some extra
springboard
momentum.
action.
Springboard action.
92 yards on just 6 carries for Aiden Lee. He had the big 50-yard gain in the first half, set up their first touchdown drive.
Just under 7 minutes to go now. Again, Aquinas up 19-0 here in the third quarter at UW La Crosse, the home of the Aquinas Blue Golds for this
also
season.
The home of the Central Red Raiders.
That is right. Up the middle, Reutemann. A few yards there, and again, just this smash mouth Aquinas offense.
Obviously the UW La Crosse Eagles play here as well. They'll be on the road tomorrow. They're playing River Falls.
Yep.
One of my high school classmates went on to play at River Falls as their kicker.
Oh.
Back in the early 2000s.
In motion now is Lee. He gets the handoff there.
He's got some blockers too.
And Aiden Lee, does that put him over 100 yards?
I believe it will. Let me double check here.
27, that was Eric Rogers on the tackle there for the Luther Knights. As the Blue Golds get another first down here on the 17-yard line, and once again, they are knocking on the door for another 6.
That is at the century mark. 100 yards on 7 carries for Aiden Lee.
Pitch play there for Cambio, looking for a hat trick. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Cutting across the field, another touchdown for Will Cambio. Just misdirection, cutting in, and at one point, he was on the left side of the field. He finished the play on the right side of the field. Great play there by Cambio. 3 touchdowns on the night for him, and his big night on the ground continues.
And Will Cambio, just a junior, so he will be back to this team next year, and they'll lean heavily on him. Aiden Lee as well.
Kazmarowski in now for the kick, and it just short.
The PA announcer was right. The wind got a hold of that one. It was a pop-up. It just really didn't go anywhere.
Aquinas 25, Luther nothing. We'll take a moment to thank one of our awesome sponsors, again, that makes tonight possible. How about Fiesta Mexicana? I am a big fan of that restaurant. For truly delicious, authentic, and fresh Mexican food, make it Fiesta Mexicana on La Crosse, the south side. They got all the great Mexican dishes. Burritos, fajitas, tacos, chimichangas. You even have some margaritas in multiple flavors. You know, like, that's catch your eye a little bit.
Their chips and salsa that they bring out are just always perfect and they're fresh. And yeah.
During the summertime, you can always sit outside on their patio. Otherwise, they got a great place to sit indoors, cater. Could even host your next party or special event. Fiesta Mexicana in La Crosse. They do. Honestly, that really makes. I'll just be honest. It makes or breaks a Mexican place. The chips and salsa.
It's one of the staples of Mexican restaurants is to have chips and salsa as the complimentary appetizer.
And Fiesta Mexicana gets it done.
They really do it well.
Kickoff here for the Blue Golds.
It's been a few months since I've been there. I should hit them up again.
I think I might go there this weekend as we talk about it. I'm kind of excited. I'm excited for some.
What do you mean this weekend? We're going there right after the game.
Oh.
No, I don't know if they're open that late.
Night's coming out now. 5 minutes, 27 seconds to go here as the Aquinas Blue Golds up 25. Luther still looking to put some points up on the board here for their final game of the regular season. It hasn't really gone as well as they did plan. They do have one overall win, and that was against Cashton earlier in the year.
Week 2. So it's been a while since they've tasted victory, and it may continue this evening.
Aquinas fresh off of 2 losses to 2 really good teams. Going deep here. Oh, another interception. Wow, what a pick there. Great catch there. No gloves for number 20. I believe is that 2.
I think that was Michael Liam. You're right.
And again, that's just a great defensive play there. Statler
jumping backwards.
Yeah.
Reaching over his head to make that play. That's wide receiver type stuff.
No gloves.
I know.
Right? Everybody wears gloves nowadays. Heck, some quarterbacks even wear gloves nowadays. Not Liam. He's got those sticky fingers.
Teddy Bridgewater, they call him Teddy Two Gloves.
Teddy Two Gloves, that's right.
Teddy Bridgewater was famously known for having undersized hands coming into the scouting combine, so I think that was a lot to do with it.
Here's a big play now for the Aquinas Blue Golds.
Is that Joe Penci?
I believe that was number 6. Looking pretty good thus far in the limited amount of carries that he's gotten. Again, he's just a sophomore too, so you're seeing a lot of underclassmen really showcasing their stuff here tonight. Under the Friday night lights, looking like Aquinas setting themselves up to have a pretty good team for years to come. 25-0, 5 minutes to go here in the third quarter for this one. In motion now is Penci, but they're going to go.
Muskowski gets stopped right away. Tackle made by Ethan Deem. We've called his name a few times. The linebacker, number 7. Quinn Muskowski had one big run in the first half of 18 yards. It's been relatively quiet since, but has that capability. A lot of speed on this Aquinas team.
The Darlington game, Muskowski really came alive in the second half of that game, and that's where he got a lot of his work done.
Now he's bottled up in the backfield again. Going to lose 2 or 3 yards.
And looking like number 65 as well as number 15 for Luther, able to break that play down. That's Bias. and Bass, Bias and Bass, who have both made some pretty big plays on defense thus far here tonight. And Aquinas now setting up for a third and about 11 here. See what Coach Lee has drawn up for his offense.
Wouldn't be surprised to see him take a shot downfield.
Well, they do a little bit of a reverse there now, and
they're saying Penke with the carry.
26-yard line. Boy, that wind is sure picking up out there.
we hear the PA announcer saying that it's getting pretty windy out there. And then
it was a very windy day. You know, I stepped outside at work a couple times. Almost lost my hat.
Yeah. What would you do if you lost your hat?
I'd get another one.
Makes sense. I mean, we saw it earlier when we first got here. It looked like Coach had lost something that kind of blew
play
down
sheets or something.
Play sheets that blew down to the track here at UWL, and there's another handoff. Oh, breaking some tackles. Get that touchdown, young man. He's got it. 6 more points on the board.
Joe Penke getting in the end zone.
Great play there, Penke, the sophomore, putting it together under the Friday Night Lights here to close out the 2019 regular season.
You know, that was kind of like a surprise. Here I am. He just emerged from a handful of tacklers. He just broke through. Joe Penke, the sophomore, really impressing tonight.
Aquinas putting another 6 on the board. They're looking for another one here. Let's see if I think he's got that one right down the middle.
Right down Broadway.
I believe that was 25 coming in now and kicking. Kazmarowski. Big play there by the Aquinas Blue Golds. And with that, how about we talk about one of our awesome sponsors again, Lewiston Monument. Guess where they're located? Lewiston, Minnesota. I'm not going to give you a chance to respond to that. Founded in 1919 and has been a tradition for 4 generations. Specialize in cemetery memorials of all types. Lewiston Monument can help you with a difficult decision. Lewiston Monument, again, in Lewiston, Minnesota. Big play there by the Blue Golds, getting a lot of runners involved. Cambio has been the star on previous drives. That drive, it was all about Joe Penke, the sophomore.
And Joe Penke, coming into tonight's game, had not carried the football.
Is that right? Wow.
Not once.
Well, he's made definitely.
He's worked his way into the rotation, and suddenly Joe Penke is a force to be reckoned with. 61 yards on 5 carries and that touchdown.
Again, Aquinas.
A lot of chunk yardage.
Oh, what was that?
It was a kick that went. It was a squib kick, went off the up back, and bounced directly back to the kicking team, and that's Aquinas ball.
That is the wildest.
I don't know if I've ever quite seen something like that.
Seen that before. What? I've never seen that before.
That's
that ball
something.
Bounced like 15 yards off of that Luther player.
It went straight at him, bounced straight back. I don't have.
Well, hopefully there's some NFL coaches taking notes. That might be a way to start,
just kick it as hard as you can at the up back.
That's 7%.
See if you get the ball.
Onside kick rate.
That's dropping.
Here we go. The run up the middle now for the Aquinas Blue Golds. Probably not planning on having the offense back out there so soon. 2:30 to go here in the third quarter. 32-0 your score. And Aquinas getting the ball right back after crazy. I don't even know what you call that. Just like it
was a squib kick that was recovered.
Kick that was recovered.
I don't know. It's been a long week, Nick, and I can't even put words together
comprehend
that make sense. So just gonna roll with it.
Might be a Sports Center top 5.
27.
That is Lenny Boberg getting some carry. Getting a carry there. I don't know if that might be a first for him this season as well.
Boberg has carried the ball a couple times here now.
But again,
and he has 9 carries for 27 yards coming into tonight's game. So Lenny Boberg getting some action, and good to see. We've called his name quite a few times on the defensive side of the ball. He's been flying all over the place.
Boberg is a senior as well, and that's Miskowski. Now, you know what I think is really also pretty impressive about this offense? We've got guys like Penke out here and Boberg and even Miskowski who aren't necessarily always out there, but
they're not the headline guy, but they're
all. I mean, this is like, let's be honest, it's kind of a confusing offense. I mean, you got so much misdirection and so many sweeps and so much pre-snap motion
and reverses
but they all seem to understand it really well, and I think that says a lot about Coach
it's well
Lee and the
coached.
practice. Yeah,
absolutely.
very much.
Tom Lee has been recognized multiple times for his coaching abilities. He's been part of the some of the All-Star game coaching staffs, and Boberg another carry.
As we draw down here in the third quarter, 40 seconds left. Probably get another playoff here, and
32-0. The Blue Gold's just breaking it open in this third quarter.
Really out of nowhere. I mean, it's something that
it's been the Will Cambio show too.
It really has. He's been playing phenomenal. I think that's Penke again. And really, I mean, once he cuts upfield, it seems like he has so much momentum. And I think that's going to be it for the third quarter here. Is
pretty close.
Clock winds down. Coach Lee calls his team over. And that will do it for the third quarter here. Aquinas, as you said, busting it open in the third quarter. 32 points up on the board. We've got a fourth quarter to play. Luther looking to do something here to end their 2019 regular season. We'll take a break. You're watching the KQEG TV Game of the Week.
Dinner tonight? Don't go just anywhere. Make it special. A fiesta at Fiesta Mexicana. Real, authentic Mexican food made fresh every single day. Quesadillas, fajitas, burritos, enchiladas, and don't forget the margaritas. Looking for a place for a special celebration? Well, Fiesta Mexicana can handle groups up to 65 people. Their party planners will help you with a special menu or a delicious Mexican buffet. They can even cater a party in your home. So make it special. Make it Fiesta Mexicana on Mormon Cooley Road at the south end of La Crosse.
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. We bring you the fourth quarter now in this contest. Aquinas 32, Luther nothing, and Aquinas getting the ball back off a weird squib.
One of the strangest plays I've ever seen, where that was not the intention of the play. It was not an onside kick. It was a squib kick, line drive, went off the up back, and shot directly backwards over the head of the kicking team.
Right.
And they had to go back to retreat to recover it.
Yeah, you don't see that too often here. On the carry, coming out to the left side, and a good tackle there by the Knights. Is that Miskowski? And a good play there by 11 and 15 for Luther. That's Pamperin and Bias. Again, they seemingly seem to always be in on the play.
Nose for the football.
And here comes Aquinas after that 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. Just over 11 minutes to go in this contest. Nick Ragnar, Carl Greenfield here with you at UW La Crosse. We've got
Luke high atop Roger Herring Stadium.
And here's a nice carry, busting it out. Penke's looked mighty impressive thus far, being able to just slip and slide out of tackles and really burst through those running lanes. Another big play for him.
And Joe Penke now up to 75 yards on 7 carries. We might see 300-yard rushers from the Aquinas Blue Golds tonight. And who would have, put down that Joe Penke would be part of that?
All right. Well, it looks like they're getting pushed back here a little bit, actually. We got to stop talking when when they're talking about things on the field.
Got to pay attention. Focus. Here we go.
Isn't that, I feel like that's like play-by-play 101 is pay attention. Maybe.
I think that's got to be somewhere in the book.
Aquinas now looking at 2nd and 11 here, just under 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
So that wipes out that gain.
But they'll give it Right
back to him.
Yep, right back to him. See if he can make up some.
Lost the football.
He fumbled it, but I think Aquinas recovered that ball. They did. Just getting a few yards on that play. 3rd down, and looks like maybe about 8.
3rd and 8 for the Blue Gold.
A little over 10 minutes to go here. Obviously, this game has not gone the way that the Luther Knights had expected, but you got to figure out a way to keep the Blue Golds out of the end zone here.
Going to Penke again, trying to bust out to the right side and can't get anything going, but we've got a flag down on the play.
Comes flying in from the back judge.
Michael Bass, there is a penalty flag on the field, and we'll have to call in a moment.
See what the call is here.
Holding on the offense there, and they're going to get pushed back again, unless they'll just take that.
Penke with a gain of a couple yards before that penalty will probably push him back.
If you're wanting to know the scores of the games on Alaska football, end of the 3rd quarter, up 10 to Holman's 3.
Conference championship on the line in Onalaska tonight.
Big TD pass from Larson to Peterson for Onalaska.
Well, there's a surprise.
Back shoulder throw there to put 6 up on the board.
20 touchdown passes on the year for Austin Larson to just 2 interceptions. He's been unbelievable. It reminds me a lot. It was about 6 years ago, when Onalaska had the offense led by quarterback Brayton Dewan. I don't know if you remember that name. Jalen Zubich was one of the running backs, but Dewan could just throw the ball all over the yard.
Wow, look at that patience. That's number 5. I think that's Chris Wilson, his first action of the night. A little bit of a screen pass there, and look at that. I mean, you're making players on the field. I mean, these are guys that are going to have the experience to step up and really do something, not only later possibly in the postseason, but for years to come for this Blue Gold's offense. Able to get a big play there on what seemed like 3rd and a mile. In the backfield, Lenny Boberg. We've also got Penke out there, who's in motion. They'll give it to Boberg up the middle, but a nice stop there by the Luther defense. That's number
65. That's Mitchell Bass, defensive lineman for the Luther Knights, making the play. Got an update. 3rd quarter, still 12-7, Central in the lead. You mentioned the Onalaska 10-3 lead in the 4th quarter over Holman. So, couple of big games, couple of good ones. Yeah. Rick and Jesse over in West Salem tonight.
West Salem trying to play spoiler for Central, who's still looking to try to get into the postseason.
Central playing for their playoff lives. That's Lenny Boberg again with the carry.
Just under 8 minutes to go here in this one. Aquinas up again, 32. Luther nothing thus far.
It is
3rd and 9 here. Boberg in the backfield. In motion is Miskowski. Trick play to Penke. And he'll get a few more yards. Coach Lee drawing up a lot of plays for Joe Penke.
I've been extremely impressed with Joe Penke. You know, limited action in general, a smaller running back.
And up the middle, that's Boberg on a touchdown for the Aquinas Blue Golds, putting up another 6 on the board.
Lenny Boberg, 8 yards for 6. So now, with that deficit, it's going to be a running clock for the remainder of the game.
38-0.
I got to be honest, I'm surprised that we saw a running clock tonight.
Yeah. Kazmarowski with the extra point, giving Aquinas the 39-0 lead. And with that, we will take a break here in the fourth quarter. 7 minutes to go. Aquinas 39, Luther 0. You're watching the KQEG TV Game of the Week.
At Boyers, we have a great selection of furniture.
At great prices.
And great personality.
We'll be the judges of that.
Love seats, great.
Prices, great. Personality, so-so. Sofas, great.
Prices, great. Personality, so-so.
Recliners, great. Prices, great. Personalities, and...
But I'm your grandpa. Can't you give me a break?
All judges' decisions are final at Boyers Furniture.
Please?
Welcome back to the KQEG TV Game of the Week. Carl Greenfield. Next to me, I'm Nick Ragnar. We're here tonight.
I was going to say, introducing yourself as me.
7 minutes to go here in this one. Aquinas up 39, Luther nothing. Score update for you. We got Holman up, or actually down, just fumbled the ball. Lubinsky for Onalaska scoring the touchdown, 17-3. The score on that one with just under 10 minutes to go.
Nate Lubinsky, one of the best running backs in the MVC or in this area, period.
And
look at that pursuit. Coming all the way from the left-hand side, Ian Kazmarowski making the play to stop the kickoff return.
I feel like this is the first time that Luther's had the ball in a while, right? You know, they had that onside or that squib kick.
That
recovery.
whatever that was.
Aquinas has really just run a lot of clock off in this second half here. Clock continues to run, under 7 minutes to go. Luther looking to do something here with their final game of the regular season. Maybe put some points up on the board. As we see number 13, that's Willem once again.
Falls back on top of the ball, fumble on the snap exchange.
Again, the second half, as you had mentioned, just not going the way that they had hoped. A couple of interceptions, the kick recovery. It's just, you know, after playing pretty well in that first half.
Pretty tight, 12-0, and then the Blue Gold just blew it wide open.
Let's see if they continue to keep it on the ground here. And they will. Little option play there. This is what worked for him.
He's
got a lot of green. If he can bust open a little bit, still a great play there by number 3 for Luther. That's Connor Peterson, the senior.
29 yards on the run for Connor Peterson.
And again, if you're joining us a little late, that's a lot of what their offense had looked like in the first half. A lot of that useful option by quarterback Willem, and unfortunately that's just not how things worked out here in the second half for the team. Nonetheless, trying to do something here before the end of the game. 5 minutes to go in this one, as they go straight up the middle to Rogers. A couple more yards there for the Luther Knights.
Gain of 5 for him.
So we've got some fans watching, maybe wondering when the seating will come out. Carl, when can we probably expect some of those announcements to be made?
We can expect the WIAA seating meetings will occur over the weekend. I believe it is by 1 o'clock tomorrow that things should shake out. So the WIAA website should have that information. So we get a carry here ridden out of bounds. It's Dylan Yang. But the Blue Golds will be waiting with bated breath, you know, just to see where they're going to play. Are they going to get a home game? I seriously doubt it, but you never know.
How do you prepare for that, right? So you basically have 5 days to game plan, to prep. A lot of these other teams, you have tape what you kind of have an understanding of who it is you'll be playing throughout the year. I mean, what What is that kind of like, you think, for
So
these players, the
that,
coaching staff?
As a coaching staff, it is courtesy to provide at least some sort of tape to your playoff opponents. So they will communicate with each other to at least have something to game plan against. They'll obviously do their research, probably make some phone calls to opponents to see what kind of tendencies they may have seen throughout the year. But it's a scrambling mode as a coach, especially with a very unfamiliar opponent you've maybe never seen.
Sure.
They play clear across the state or something. It is tough.
Yeah, definitely. Aquinas Division 5 for the playoffs this year. And 4 minutes to go here in this one after the timeout. There's, again, another option there, breaking an arm tackle there, but unfortunately for the Knights, the Blue Golds have just been there whenever a majority of these option plays. I mean, the Blue Golds, just that entire defense, their pursuit on some of those plays is just very impressive. Connor Peterson and the carry for the Knights on that one. Under 4 minutes to go here now.
Riley Clark making the play, number 77. See some reserves making their way in on the defensive side. Pretty much the starters out there for Luther.
A lot of seniors, wanting to get them some. This will be their last game. Aquinas obviously has until next week to play.
Give those seniors a recognition tonight. Brandon Statler, Connor Peterson, Carter Benrud, Ethan Deem, Christian Willem, Caden Bridell, Bennett Barney, Eric Rogers, Mitchell Bass, Joshua Larson, and Joy McNamara. All the seniors for Matt Schiebel's Luther Knights. Playing their final game of their high school careers tonight, and they want to go out with something to hang their hat on.
Looks a little bit of a confusion there as Rogers
is going to lose a couple yards.
And we have about 2:30 to go here in this game. Again, Aquinas up 39 to Luther. Luther's nothing.
I gotta say, Nick, I am surprised that this game went the way it did. I anticipated that Aquinas would come out on top, but it's just been a second half full of mistakes and turnovers and bad luck for the Luther Knights, and they're staring at a possibility of a shutout.
Wow. And tackling in the backfield. And that's going to be a turnover on downs. And with that, we'll thank our last sponsor of the night, Kirchner Custom Builders. It's your residential and commercial building partner. They do it all from large commercial buildings to beautiful custom-built homes. Kirchner works with you hand in hand until your project is finished. You can always visit their website at KirchnerCustomBuilders.com. 1:40 to go as that clock continues to run down in this game. And on the regular season for both these teams, the Aquinas Blue Golds again looking forward to their playoff matchup next Friday. Again, this is history for Aquinas Blue Golds, their first time in the playoffs since 2012, finishing with a record above 500 for the first time since 2008. Phenomenal season by Coach Tom Lee and the rest of the crew, as well as these Blue Gold players.
They will finish the year 6-3, and they will be 5-2 in the SWAL. Their 2 losses coming in the last 2 weeks back to back. So a big bounce back win for the Aquinas Blue Golds. Now the Luther Knights will finish their season 1-8, 0-7 in the SWAL in their first and perhaps only season in this league. This is kind of a stepping stone in between stops as conferences will realign next year. So we'll see where everything ends up. I know that there are some decisions that have been made. I'm not remembering them off the top of my head right now.
But we had noticed that how much of a difference playing in a league like this for kind of both these teams really made. I mean, Aquinas is part of that MVC for a few years,
and
not
they
having
were
the
getting
enrollment.
beaten up.
the enrollment wasn't there, and I think that you just kind of saw that, right? The amount of kids coming out for the games.
And I think a lot of it was, you saw small numbers and you saw the team struggling, and so who wants to join that team?
Yeah, right.
So if you have an opportunity to put together a team that has some success, isn't getting beaten up. I remember calling a couple of Aquinas games in the last few years where they were only suiting 28 guys, and that is really hard when you go against a home and Viking team that has 80 guys on the sidelines.
Absolutely.
They can rotate guys in and out on defense and offense, whereas Aquinas was playing a lot of the same players both sides of the ball, and it really wears them out, and it became a safety concern for them.
Jackson Flotmeyer playing quarterback right now for the Blue Golds. You have to wonder if maybe he'll be the one under center this time next season, the freshman.
Yeah, Gavin Wetzel, a senior, so there's going to be some searching to be done.
11 there, Jack Gagermeyer on the carry there. Again, Schwartz, Gagermeyer both getting carries on that final possession. And with that, we will close down to the game as the clock ticks 0. Aquinas getting the big win here to end the regular season, 39, Luther nothing. And with that, we gotta keep our promises. Blaschke and Schneider Funeral Home talking about our players of the game. Carl, who you got?
For the Luther Knights, I'm going to pick a couple of players. I'm going to go with Nehemiah Pamprin, Lyndon Bias. Both of those players, and I may even give a little shout out to Ethan Deem as well, the senior linebacker. He played a heck of a game tonight. Those three guys really stood out to me. They were making some plays on defense. Lyndon Bias carrying the ball a few times on offense. It's just when they had such a tough night, it is hard to pick. But those guys had some good individual performances, and so I'm going to go with a trio of Luther Knights. For Aquinas, you got to look at Will Cambio with his 3 touchdowns on the ground, but I want to give a little honorable mention to Joe Pankey.
You have to. You can't not give it. You can't not give Joe Pankey an honorable mention. Coming in here, no carries on the year, and looking like he's been a star in this offense from day one.
And
awesome
some big plays on defense coming from Mason Viner, from Lenny Boberg. Also got the opportunity to run the ball, scored a touchdown later in the game. Taylor Service was all over the place.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you want to pick one player of the game, I'll give it to Will Cambio. But there were a lot of contributing guys for the Aquinas Blue Golds tonight, and it was a pretty dominant performance.
The Aquinas Blue Golds are going to be looking for another big performance from those players and more next week when we, KQEG, bring you their first-round playoff matchup.
To be determined.
To be determined. We'll figure out exactly what that means, and we'll have a lot more broadcasts to bring to you over the next few weeks for the WIAA playoffs. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, go to our YouTube page. If you're not watching on YouTube, click subscribe to our team and check that out. What a cool scene that is.
I love to see this. Both of these are private schools, religious-based institutions, so it's unsurprising that they would have a prayer together, but it's still a wonderful moment.
It reminds you, right? A little bit.
And two different faith communities, too,
Exactly.
Lutherans and Catholics, and they're able to join together for a prayer after a hard-fought game, and it's a really nice scene to see, kind of warms your heart.
It definitely does. It's always a great way to close out a broadcast, and with that, we thank you so much for joining us. We thank all of our amazing sponsors from Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, UWL, Citizen State Bank, Kirchner Custom Builders, Schumacher Kish, Boyer's Furniture, Fiesta Mexicana, Bacalar's Battery Mart, Lewiston Monument. A lot of great sponsors that make nights like tonight possible. For Carl Greenfield and Luke, who's up top at the UWL press box on the roof. Hopefully he's still alive up there. I'm Nick Ragnar. Thanks for joining us here on the KQEG TV Game of the Week. We'll catch you next week.
You've been watching the KQEG TV High School Game of the Week. Tonight's game featured the Onalaska Luther Knights and the Aquinas Blue Golds. The KQEG TV High School Game of the Week is made possible by our sponsors, like Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is their business. Southwest 2nd Avenue in Onalaska. Schumacher Kish, funeral and cremation services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. Battery Mart, with batteries for your car, boat, snowmobile, lawnmower, even your snowblower. Battery Mart, in the industrial park below Gunderson. Lewiston Monument, in Lewiston, Minnesota. Boyer's Furniture, quality furniture at affordable prices on South Avenue, La Crosse. Blaschke Schneider Funeral Homes, serving the Cooley region for over 90 years. Fiesta Mexicana, on La Crosse's south side. For great Mexican food made fresh daily, make it Fiesta Mexicana. Citizen State Bank, a banking experience like no other, with locations in La Crosse and Onalaska. The University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW-La Crosse. Kirshner Custom Builders. For residential and commercial building, call Kirshner Custom Builders. And Bacalar Sausage, making quality sausage products since 1935. Thanks for watching High School Football on KQEG TV and KQEGTV.com.